This is Weather or Not.
All right, that Wednesday edition of Weather or Not. I'm meteorologist Andrew Dockery.
I'm meteorologist Jenna Greenhill.
And we're the two rays of sunshine on this gloomy, boring, unsettled, dreary. How many more adjectives can we get?
I don't know, but this week just sucks if we're being just flat out.
She said it.
Not good.
It is not. Now, the good news is we will have some changes. Let's go ahead and start with the first alert. The next 2 days, well, it gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah, we kind of have to go through the rough patch before we have a nice end to the week. This week has kind of made it feel like it dragged just a little bit just because the weather has been so dreary. We are going to see a cold front move through tomorrow. We are going to see temperatures a little bit warmer, but it's going to be rounds of rain throughout the day. You're not going to want to spend much time outside at all. But then as we head into Friday, that's when we kind of have the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, sunshine going to come back. Obviously, for those that have been curious, our forecast, it's been tough. Cold air damming and sea fog have been the two main reasons for that. Let's go ahead and talk, though, about Thursday. And as we look ahead and give you the first alert, there's been some new data even throughout the day that shows a little bit of an earlier arrival of some of that rain. I think at this point, mid-morning through the middle of the afternoon, going to be a big story here. You'll notice that cold front swings through, but it's a pretty slow moving cold front, which tells us showers are going to be able to trickle in from the southwest to northeast. By the time we head toward the afternoon and evening, though, Jenna, looking at some improvements.
Yeah, we're going to start to see that rain move out, be left with a shower here or there, but then we'll even start to see those clouds break apart by dinner time. We'll still see them stick around, but we will start to see those improvements ahead of the better day as we head into Friday. However, we are going to see that big temperature drop as we head into Friday. Thursday, temperatures going to sit in the upper 60s, but then notice Friday, we drop down to the low 50s, but with plenty of sunshine, you're going to want to get outside and enjoy it, because as we head into this weekend, we are going to once again see some more changes, as we are going to see another round of rain going to start to work through before we then dry out once again as we head into the start of next week.
Yeah, it's that roller coaster that probably you might have grew up as a kid loving or hating, up and down, up and down. You feel the tummy ache as you go there down the hill. We'll go downhill again as we go into Monday, and more than likely another cold front net for next week. And anytime you see those temperature changes, for those that are tuning in, yeah, you get typically the weather that happens. That weather's going to be sticking around with the rain chances coming back, like you said. Sunday looks to be just as wet, if not more rain coming in for the end of the weekend.
Yeah, and it's likely going to be especially through the morning and into the afternoon. Before then, we even start to see some improvements as we head into Sunday night. As we head into the start of next week, we finally get to dry out once again.
Yeah, so let's talk about rainfall. And keep in mind, this is accumulated all the way through Sunday and Monday. Monday, the rain's gone, but takes us through that. This is Thursday's system and Sunday system. Most of this falls as we go into Sunday, but you'll notice a general 1 inch of rain expected across the region. We're talking 2 inches of rain as you go closer, maybe up into Florence. Going to be a big story that we'll have to keep an eye on, but some beneficial rain for the area.
Yeah, we're definitely needing it. Still seeing those drought conditions. So any rain that we do see is really going to help us as we head into the start of next week.
All right, let's turn back time here and take you to this day in weather history. If I could turn back time. Do you know that song?
No.
No, all right. February 12th, I dated myself there. 1973, Lumberton, North Carolina, fell to 3 degrees. It is still the coldest February temperature on record. Loris was at 2 degrees that night.
That's freezing. That sounds awful. In 1978, Florence dropped to below freezing for the 18th consecutive day. I could not imagine just sitting 18 days below freezing.
Yeah, it's 18 degrees or 18 days straight is awful. These last two you've probably heard about on an episode of Are You Serious? 2010, the Eastern Carolina snowstorm, Hemingway, 6.8 inches. And you'll notice as we look back here, we even had ice storms and snow and sleet. Let's take you back to that one in 2010. You'll notice snow pictures here from the Grand Strand in southeastern North Carolina. That major snowstorm affected portions of eastern North Carolina. As much as 9 inches of snow falling across the region, especially there on the east portion of the North Carolina coast.
Yeah, Andrew, the storm was the result of a strong area of low pressure that developed rapidly off the Florida coast and quickly strengthened as it moved towards the North Carolina coast. Snowfall was the heaviest in the area since 2003. January 23rd, the storm produced a heavy wet snow which produced many broken limbs across the eastern portion of North Carolina.
Yeah, we take you also to 2014, and as we do so, you think freezing rain. This one was devastating. The one that came in was 1.5 inches of ice. Just for reference, you get half an inch of ice in an area that's not used to an ice storm. Yeah, you have some issues. So this one was obviously one that many people remember, crippling the area for days and days. We actually had 4 inches of sleet and snow in Bennettsville from this same system. This one came through February 11th through the 12th, and the impacts obviously were something that people still talk about to this day.
Yeah, Andrew, at one point more than 350,000 people were without power across the state after the heaviest precipitation and the strong winds. 1,500 Department of Transportation employees put more than 4,000 tons of salt on the roadways. Many areas received between 1.5 inch to as much as an inch of ice on every surface during this storm, which is just insane.
Yeah, think about it. And obviously, if you look back at some of these, we talk about 2010, we talk about 2014. If you remember from our January system, it was one of those systems that actually it beat in the previous. When it comes to snowfall, we were talking about 3.5 inches of snow back in 2010. Remember, with our system we had just last month, it passed that. So kind of cool to see this all work back together. All right, speaking of winter, let's go ahead and talk about today's weather workshop with precipitation types of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. There's so many, and sometimes it's a little confusing on how all these work. That's why meteorologist Matt Bullock has a look to explain a little bit more.
During the winter season, there are 4 types of precipitation. We have rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. And the temperature profile of the atmosphere will dictate whether if we see snow or rain. And talking about snow first, as it falls from the cloud, if temperatures are below freezing or below 32 degrees throughout the entire time as it hits the ground, it is snow. Now for sleet, it falls down as rain, but as temperatures are below freezing, it begins to ice over, hits the ground, and freezes, creating those slushy road conditions. For freezing rain, falls down as rain as temperatures are above freezing, but as it hits the surface temperatures are below freezing, so it just freezes over, creating that black ice. And for rain, temperatures are above freezing, so it just stays as rain and hits the surface, and surface temperatures are also above freezing, so we don't see those icy road conditions. But for freezing rain and sleet, they can create those icy road conditions. And if you are driving, here's a little safety tips. Keep your steering wheel straight. Do not brake hard because you will slide, and make sure you take the foot off the accelerator. Now, during the severe weather season, another form of precipitation is hail, which is pretty much just ice built up really high up into the atmosphere, and it just falls down and hits the surface. But during the winter months, we mainly talk about snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. And our WNBF First Alert Weather Team will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest details whenever winter weather is coming your way. Matt Bullock, WNBF News.
Yeah, and speaking of last month, we were talking about that system.
Feels like yesterday, but also feels like forever ago.
I was trying not to break just to make sure that we did that. So, Matt, thank you once again for doing that as well. Let's go ahead and talk to, and you mentioned this, we're still picking up winter weather across portions of the area.
Yeah, let's take you coast to coast. Virginia just saw snow, a band of powerful winter weather blowing across the country right now. People are especially hard hit in Virginia, where the National Weather Service declared a winter storm warning. Snow and some ice expected through the day today, with some areas getting as much as 8 inches of snow. This storm system has more than 90 million people under winter weather alerts.
Yeah, it's certainly been one of those big active systems working through the mid-Atlantic, and let's go ahead and take you and show you what this looks like as we go into the southeast, because you'll notice still holding on to rain. That cold front, the low pressure system, all that will finally get out. Of course, that means we finally get a better rain chance. Most of that will work through the early portion of tomorrow, and by the time we head towards 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow, you'll notice some clearing skies. Temperature is going to be warm ahead of the cold front, but you'll notice here comes that cold air as we go into tomorrow, Jenna.
Yeah, we're holding on to those warm temperatures down into Florida, but that cold air is continuing to sit in. That cold air is going to move in as we head into Friday. 41 for Nashville, 57 in Birmingham, Georgia, sitting in the low 70s to mid to upper 60s.
Now let's take you up to the northeast. Here's that low pressure now working out of the mid-Atlantic and working up through the northeast, where snow going to be a big story all the way across portions of Maine. You'll notice clearing out, especially cooling down too. We're going to be holding on to those temperatures that will fall as we go into tomorrow. Highs 31 in Rochester, 27 in Buffalo. That same system delivering some of that Arctic air, especially up in Maine, Jenna.
Yeah, 100%. That snow has been a real big issue for parts of the Northeast, where over the past couple of days they've been sitting there and dealing with days and days of just picking up on some snow. So as we head into the day tomorrow, as that system works out, it's really going to be helpful for them to kind of just get that break from that snow that they've been really constantly just picking up on.
Yeah, for some of that Northeast, it's the same system that brought the snow to Kentucky earlier this week. Let's take you to that. This is a view of my home state. It's beautiful when it snows there. Carter County, Kentucky, 7 inches of snow blanketing the area. A winter storm watch was issued for much of the state. In some areas, like we said, saw up to 7 inches of snow. Light rain and snow fell for most of the day. And let me tell you, we know how to drive in the snow, but when you get that much and you don't have that much equipment like where Jenna's from, yeah, you're going to have some issues. So obviously beautiful there, and thankfully haven't seen too many reports of some issues coming out. Let's talk about the Midwest, because now it's very quiet as we go into tomorrow, Jenna.
Yeah, pretty much kind of just seeing some clouds in the area, but the cold air is really what's setting in. 12 degrees for Cedar Rapids, Minneapolis sitting at that 8-degree mark, 3 degrees for International Falls. So you can see that cold air, that Arctic air that's starting to move in as that front has moved through, is really bringing just those below freezing temperatures throughout those areas.
Yeah, let's go to the southwest, and guess what? Snooze alert in most of the area. Clouds going to be filtering in across portions of Texas. Abilene going to be picking up on partly cloudy skies early. Clouds will build in there as we go throughout the afternoon. And temperature-wise, yeah, another good gradient. 41 in Amarillo, 60 in Corpus Christi. You'll notice the 70s in Phoenix and Tucson, but that's where that next system is going to be bringing some of those showers. That will be as we work over to the west coast.
Yeah, Andrew, like you mentioned, those showers, those big atmospheric river that's going to be bringing in a lot of rain to portions of the west coast where they don't have that much rain that they're able to take in. So a lot of flooding is going to be seen as those rounds of downpours going to be moving in. The mountains picking up on some of that snow. But when you take a look at temperatures, it's going to be continuing to see that cold air sitting at 25 for Billings, 17 for Bismarck, Denver sitting at that 37-degree mark.
Yeah, and speaking of some of that rain, it's causing all kinds of flooding. Think about it too, because they picked up on a lot of rain. We talked about all the mudslides last week. All the rain has to go somewhere, right? Well, in California and all across the United States, it flows into the rivers, and yeah, some historic flooding taking place around the Sacramento River. This coming in from the city of Redding, sharing just how quickly the floodwaters rise. And like we were talking about too, they're picking up on rain today. Eventually that will also flow into this. So they're going to be dealing with some high water issues there and some flooding in some areas that went from wildfires to now flooding to the north. California's kind of had it all at this point. All right, let's go ahead and show you some of our photos here locally. It's one of my favorite segments, our See It, Snap It, Send It.
Yeah, this is a beautiful sunrise from Leonard Hughes.
What's that? We haven't seen
I know,
those in forever.
We haven't seen that sunrise in quite some time. Even over the weekend, we saw fog Saturday, cloudy skies on Sunday, so we haven't really seen a beautiful sunrise in quite some time. So this is a beautiful, beautiful shot from Leonard.
And Saturday and Sunday were so great, and we're waiting for a view like that from Leonard. Let's take it to our other one here, and of course, Debbie Matter coming in. Debbie, beautiful. I just saw her the other day walking and said, "Hi, Debbie."
Oh yeah,
she
because
lives in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So obviously, even with some of those clouds around, still getting a beautiful view there of what would be the sunrise. Sunset is behind Debbie's house. It's a fun fact that I know that. But Debbie, thank you as always for sending your photo. And I know that's my little walking loop there that I do every day.
It's a great loop to walk around.
I want to remind you that you can go send your photos from your walking loop. All you have to do is scan this QR code to download the First Alert Weather app. You see it, you snap it, you send it. We may even show it. Get what I did there?
That was good.
All right,
I think we should add that to the little see it, snap it, send it, show it. That's
Yeah,
a lot of words.
That's a lot of words. 3's already hard enough. Rate your performance today. What are you giving your grade? It's a Wednesday. The weather's gloomy. What are we saying?
Like grade is in like our mood, like how we're feeling.
No, yep.
I would give it like a B.
I would say we're both like B,
Yeah.
B minus today.
It's my Monday.
Well, it's your Monday, and it's also just so gloomy.
I know. It's bringing the energy down. So we're trying to keep the energy up.
Yeah, we'll have rain tomorrow. Read a book, do a puzzle, watch Netflix, do something fun.
Love it.
Of course, we'll be back with another episode of Whether or Not tomorrow as well. We'll see you soon.